So any update, like in any game, of course has its ups and downs. Therefore, in today's video, guys, I am going to be doing a special video in which I will be rating every single update on a tier list. The updates which I'm actually going to be rating on the tier list are going to be also the recent ones, starting from the 2023 new map update to the brand new map update which happened this year and at the end of 2024. For this video, I will be using a tier list, and of course, I will not be rating every single update that was ever released, but I'll try to rate it based on the updates I was around for personally when I first joined and started playing this game, but also as of the recent updates, since most of them people have probably forgot. So anyway, I will be rating this tier list and these updates based on 3 very important qualities. One of them being how enjoyable the update first ever was, second thing is how much it made the change to the game, and third, how much it may change the competitive play and the meta. Anyway, let's just jump in and let's just cover these updates, and in order to actually make these, give them as much quality, every single one of these updates of course has their unique things. For example, the main vehicle that was actually added in this update, let's say the Katyusha update, actually did not shift the meta as much as, let's say, the Spitfire, for example, here did. Anyway, let's just jump into it. So starting with the first update, it had to be the 2023 map log update, which gave us a new map, new CRM jet ski, training helicopter, a brand new rifle, a limited skin, new carbon and navy vehicle camo, new Tycoon layout and models, and new intro music. And then all of these changes are not as of important in terms of this update, but the other ones in the next updates will be way more important than this one. So I gotta say, this update actually brought in a lot of positivity to the community. However, some people did prefer the older map over this one. However, it did pretty much change a lot of things, and honestly, in terms of how much it shifted the meta in terms of PvP, definitely would go into S tier, how much it actually changed the map and how much the gameplay is much more fun or not. So in terms of actually putting this on the tier list, I would say it's pretty difficult. I would say this update was not perfect, but I'd say it was quite solid, so I'm going to go ahead and give it the A tier. Anyway, next up we have ourselves the mouse update. So if I want to be honest, in terms of the mouse update, they didn't actually give us this much. They gave us the mouse tank, they gave us a gun skin, and then they added another skin to the spins. Nothing really this special, it didn't really change that much in the game, but if I had to put the mouse on the tier list, I'll be completely honest, this update was actually kind of mid and did not bring that much to the game, and no one was really that interested in it. Anyway, the next update which we have ourselves is the M3 Bradley update. Oh man, this one is quite interesting. So this update added a new tank scoping. The M3 Bradley tank also gave us a new skin and a new background song. Nothing really this interesting in terms of all those 2 new things, but these two, the new tank scope and the M3 Bradley, is where the update got really good. So the M3 Bradley actually shifted the meta quite a lot. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it's probably not gonna be better than the map update, but I would definitely give it a solid B tier, because this update was actually really good, and the M3 Bradley as a whole still holds up until this day, unlike the likes of the mouse. Next up, we have ourselves the plane update. Oh man, I have so much things to say about it. I don't even have to read the update log. So they have introduced 3 new planes into this update, but not to add, they have also introduced these planes some kind of buggy, and people were actually quite unhappy about it, if I would be completely honest. There has been many positives that have been done in this update, but there has also been many negatives. People have also said that the planes also broke PvP, they weren't balanced enough. I mean, the planes until this day actually hold up really well, and it's probably the most important vehicles in the game. In terms of how good of an addition it was, I'm gonna give this update an A tier, but maybe if there wasn't as much bugs in it, I would definitely be giving it the likes of the S tier. It was a really good update, just needed its bits of changes. Anyway, next up we have ourselves the A10 Warthog update. Man, I love this one. So the A10 log basically improved the planes in every single update. It introduced a new plane, gave us ejection seats, gave us new skins for planes, another skin for a gun, added a Game Pass gifting system, and a new background song. That is quite a lot of additions they added here. So pretty much in terms of how unique the A10 really was, I would say it was somewhat disappointing for the fact that the A10 Warthog wasn't as good as everyone expected it to be, but the update has also improved the plane mechanics. It improved pretty much everything that we had a problem with in terms of the previous one. So I'm probably going to be leaving this update on the A tier, not for the reason that the vehicle was so insanely good, but more for the reason that the update actually made the planes really more fun and actually fixed the problems from the previous update. So now we have ourselves the anti-air tank or the ADATS update. So here is the thing, it introduced 2 new things such as an anti-air tank, also a new limited skin, and it pretty much fixed the problems that were happening in the previous update. If I'll be completely honest, the ADATS update was actually not this special and it didn't really give us this much. Like, it pretty much just gave us a counter to tanks, which was something that we all pretty much needed. But other than this, the ADATS update was good-ish, but it could have been better. I would never say it was better than the Bradley update, so I'm probably going to be putting it in C tier. It was kind of mid, but it was still good. But now moving into an actual good update, which a lot of people have actually enjoyed. That is the brand new ships update. So the ship slug, they have added 2 new large ships such as the PGO2, and they have also introduced the thermal, also a new skin. It also has made a lot of these previous boats actually accessible into Zero Rebirth players. So Rebirth Zero players have also received a much better way in which they could actually have fun with these ships. They have also increased the damage of the missiles against shields for the ADATS, so they just pretty much fixed the previous update. But the most important thing was the fact that they have actually introduced a brand new mechanic into the game once again. If I'm gonna be completely honest, in terms of how cool that the update really was, I would probably put it into S tier, but for one reason that the ships do not hold this well until this day, I will probably have to put this update in A tier. I'll probably be putting it, was it better than the planes update? It didn't really have that much bugs. Alright, I'm gonna put it in A tier. It could land its spot in S tier if the ships were actually really interesting until this day, but right now the ships don't seem to be doing this well. And then the next update which we have ourselves was the brand new missile ship, and with this we have also received the LAVAD. So this update actually, I'd say it was better than the previous ship update. For one, fact that they have introduced a new ship, but they have also gave us a brand new vehicle which was actually really cool. However, the Lovat itself was actually kind of underwhelming for the fact that it was put into a spin, but not to add, it wasn't actually this good. You know what? I'm gonna put it... And I put it behind the planes update. Alright, I'll just put it here. I'll put it in A tier. It was a really good update. I personally liked it, but it could have been some things that could have been better. Alrighty, so now actually moving into the Super Stallion update. So here's the thing with the Super Stallion update. As you guys can see, it just pretty much just buffed a few vehicles, fixed the mistakes from the previous updates, and then just introduced a transport helicopter. To me, the definition of that is actually kind of mid, and I would genuinely say that the Super Stallion update probably was one of the most boring updates that they have actually released. I would say it's no way near in the same category as the mouse update, but also the update for the anti-air tank. It just didn't really shift anything in the meta, it just made transporting slightly easier for some players, so I guess that's a little bit better in terms of quality of life. This was really not a good update, it felt like it was filler anyway. Anyway, the next update which we have right here is the F4 update, and this update literally took off the most important thing of this game. Let me go ahead and cover it. So what they've done in this update is that they have introduced UGCs, updated the loadout system which basically increased quality of life, added an M35 gun truck. They have also added a brand new Game Pass plane which is the F35, and also added the F4 Phantom. This is just the definition of a perfect update. They gave us quality of life, and they also gave us an insane amount of vehicles, which by the way this update still holds really well until this day. So if I'll be completely honest, this update is probably going to be the definition of S tier. The reason why, it pretty much filled every single metric I am looking for. These vehicles are still very popular until this day, the F4 Phantom and the F35. The gun truck was really cool until they have recently removed it. Not to add, they also gave us a loadout system which we do use until this day. Everything just seemed perfect about it. Even the F35 didn't seem that busted on release either. Alrighty, so now the T90 update. This one is also really cool if I'm gonna be honest. So what they added in this update is they have updated the JOTV Game Pass, which everybody had issues about. They added skins for helicopters, but also added the T90, which until this day is probably one of the most unique vehicles in the game. So pretty much what they've done in this update is they fixed pretty much everything we wanted, because we wanted the JOTV to be fixed and actually be a way better vehicle. So they have done this, and then the T90's deflection system, or even the tank itself, it's still so popular until this day. If I'm be honest, in terms of how good of an update this was, I'm probably gonna put it in the middle of A tier. Really good update. I enjoyed this one. But now moving into JU87 Stuka update. Oh man, this one is also interesting. So this update pretty much just introduced a brand new plane, which is literally just a bomber. I really like the idea of it being able to one-shot the likes of the mouse. It also introduced a brand new rifle and 2 new scopes. So with all honesty, people have expected this vehicle to be really good, and it really did come out to be good. They also gave us scopes and a brand new rifle, but if I'm gonna be completely honest, in terms of size of this update, in terms of filling everything we could ever want, I just simply cannot put it into A tier, but this was a really good update nonetheless. I really enjoyed it. But then we have ourselves a smaller update, which did still have some vehicles, but these vehicles are not really this used until this day, except for the most important one, which I'm gonna be showing you right now. Alrighty, and this update's name is literally a prime example that the Katyusha was not the prime and the most important thing of this update. It was actually the Spitfire and the Easter egg. No one really used the Katyusha after a week, but the Spitfire still holds up until this day after the plane mechanics have been changed. Not to add, we had ourselves a new Easter egg, which I believe that Easter egg was the Suncross or something like this. I really like this update. The Spitfire definitely stole the crowd, but in terms of how good this update was, I'd say it's still gonna be in B tier, but I'm going to be putting it ahead of the Stuka update, but it's really close with the Bradley update. I wouldn't say the Stuka is on their level though, but on the other side we have ourselves the B29 update, which everyone actually anticipated so much, man. So this update was actually delayed for a little week. In this update they have added a brand new friend invites page, which we could actually receive the Remington ACR, friend boost, and then the B29 bomber. Pretty much what they've done is they made the popularity of the game better because they have made more people actually log on by inviting friends. It's a really nice and cheeky strategy to actually get people onto your game without actually people having to spend money. And then the most important one, which stole the crowd, was the B29. So on release, the B29 was actually really cool because it was pretty much the biggest vehicle in the whole entire game. I would even say it was bigger than the AC-130 itself. It pretty much was able to be incredibly OP on the release because it was able to melt pretty much everything, so they had to actually nerf the AI turrets of this a lot of the times, and the AI turrets are no longer actually able to target players. Honestly, I really like this update. I would probably put it ahead of the A10 update. It was one of the cooler ones, but honestly, I think it was good enough. It could have been better, but it was good enough. I would almost put it into S tier if they have added a brand new vehicle in this update. Anyway, next up we have ourselves the Harrier jump jet. So in this update they have basically added one plane which is going to be for level 30. Nothing more special, some little changes were made, but no one really cared about it that much. So the Harrier as a vehicle was actually a really cool addition to the game. I would say it was probably better than the likes of the Stuka update because the Harrier still stays up until this day, and it did have a unique feature which was the second plane in the game that ever has received veto. But other than this, it was pretty much just a single vehicle update, and there was nothing more special to actually hype up about it. I say it was a pretty good update. It was definitely not mid, but it could have been better. Anyway, the next update which we have over here is going to be the T14 update. So this update has actually gave us literally 2 vehicles, and the VCSC Mephisto was the one that actually stole the crowd for this update, guys. We had ourselves the BTR-80 as well, and just the T14. We had ourselves 4 brand new guns and new daily reward system. That is a lot of things to actually add in an update, if I'm gonna be completely honest. So once again, this is a prime example that the update doesn't have to be called T14 update for a different vehicle to actually steal the crowd away. The reason why I'm gonna be putting this update in S tier is because it pretty much fills every single metric. It gave us 3 unique vehicles, it did make some quality of life changes, it gave the free-to-play players to have more options to which they could receive guns, pretty much also have actually got more player counts for the fact that people had to log in every single day. I don't know why the developers just add new features and don't expand into them. Like, they could actually expand the daily reward system and add some brand new vehicles onto it. Like, come on devs, come on Kids What Tech, I know you're probably watching this, please just update the daily rewards. Like, you could actually make it until day 60 and add some brand new vehicles in there and also guns. We love this kind of update, and the progression of it was really nice. Anyway, now moving into the Patriot update. Honestly, the Patriot update itself, it was highly anticipated for the fact that everybody absolutely hated planes because of their release, because they were so powerful. But now the way that planes are countered in this current meta is pretty simple. Like, you just basically have to fight a plane with a plane, because at this point, just using anti-air weapons is considered toxic in the modern meta. Honestly, on release, this update probably would have been B tier, but now in terms of how much impact it had for the game, I would say it gave negative impact rather than positive impact. I'm not really a fan of the Patriot update for the fact that it actually decreased a layer of skill into the game. Anyway, let's just move into the F16 plus trading update, which was once again one of the most anticipated updates that they have released. Not gonna lie guys, but this update was also kind of controversial. It gave us the F16 plane, which we all wanted. They revamped the plane physics, so these are two things that they have done really well, but when stuff actually started to get kind of annoying is adding a skin trading hub, because people were mad about it because it was pretty much gambling, but people have also been mad for the fact, people were really mad about the fact that the trading hub was added because so much scamming actually took place into that, and they literally added pretty much stocks or trading into the whole entire game, which wasn't a feature that everybody actually wanted, because we couldn't trade game passes, which was something that people have also wanted to see in the game. Let's say you don't like your game pass, you could trade it for a different one for a similar price. It's something that people have wanted, but it hasn't really been put into the game. So in terms of how hyped up this update was, I would give it S tier, but in terms of how it actually came out, the trading hub, I'm gonna be honest, people found it kind of mid, and they thought that the developers could actually use this time to make something better in terms of the update, but then we also had ourselves the awesome plane physics and the F16. Honestly, it was very controversial, but it was still a good update. I'm gonna put it in I'm gonna put it in an A tier. It's a really good update, but it just had its ups and downs, much like any update could possibly have. Anyway, the next update which we had ourselves was the Invictus and the Mi28 helicopter update. Once again, another one of those controversial updates. People loved how the Invictus came out. People did like the fact that the Mi28 was added, but they did not like the fact that the Mi24 back then was actually put it into a spin. However, Gizmotech has done the nice thing, and he has decided to actually move the Mi24 in this update into the levels so you guys could actually grind it instead of having to pay for it with spins. So honestly, he's done everything right. The Mi20 is just a better replacement for the Mi24 Hind, and I think it was a very good update personally. Anyway, the Eurofighter and the V22 Osprey update. Alrighty, this one is kind of cool as well. So here we have it. This is the whole entire update. In this update, they have also added a brand new Firestorm skin, which the influencers could give, and I actually really like the idea of it because the skin had some kind of rarity. So people actually had to watch the influencers, people had to actually get on YouTube and understand the game, so it pretty much just promoted the YouTube side of the game by just adding the influencer skin. And I also like that idea as well because it's kind of making the game bigger as a whole. But not to add, the Eurofighter actually came out really well, and the V22 Osprey unfortunately was somewhat disappointing for the fact that it did not have any other type of weaponry. So then in the next update, Gizmotech has decided to combat this and of course fix the V22 Osprey, and then it started becoming great, which is still good in the meta right now. So honestly, in terms of how much it made a change to the meta, I would definitely be giving an A tier, but in terms of how it came out, it was a good update. Honestly, I'm gonna put it somewhere here. I'd say it was a really good update, but the V22 Osprey on release was just slightly mid, but now it's way better. Anyway, the next update, the Losat update, which absolutely broke the whole meta for an entire week. Oh man. So the Losat update has introduced a new drone, the RC car, and not to add the Losat. And I actually really like this update personally. I feel like the Losat did break the meta a little bit, but until this day, I think that the Losat is really nicely balanced. It's not really taking over, but it still works pretty damn well as an anti-tank, and it even works quite well for anti-air. And the drones, and the suitcase drone and the RC car are still used into this game. This update did make a really good impact. I personally really like it. Anyway, the next update which we have ourselves, which was a single vehicle update, it was the AH1Z Viper update. Honestly, the developers were on break that time and they didn't really have that much time to actually introduce a better update, but in terms of how good this update was, I'm gonna give it in C tier. The AH1Z update was probably one of the weakest updates in terms of my YouTube metrics as well, or even the game's metrics as a whole. It wasn't really this popular, no one was really interested in it, and until this day, doesn't really change the meta either. Anyway, the F18 Hornet on the other side is one of those really good updates. So it has introduced a brand new plane, it also has introduced a brand new repair menu, which a lot of players have also wanted, and then they have decided to update the missile lock-on UI, so we also know who we're locking onto. The missiles can no longer lock on through terrain, which was a little bit of a problem because in this update they have shifted the meta of the Abrams X a lot. However, the AC-130 was also changed very positively. So pretty much everything in this update was really good except the fact that the Abrams X was somewhat nerfed, and people who did pay the money for it have pretty much lost out what they paid for, which was a little bit of a problem. But other than this, the update was still really good, so I'm gonna be putting it in A tier. Really good update. I'm gonna stop ranking them in terms of a line. They were all just going to be going into A tier. Anyway, the Torpedo ship update. Honestly, we haven't received any type of ship updates in a very long time, and the developers decided to combat this by adding a brand new ship. And this update has introduced the PR-206, the BMPT Terminator, and the Elite gun cases. I'd say oh yeah, I forgot. They have also introduced amphibious vehicles. They have buffed the BTR-80 and the Losat. They have also buffed the Thermal and the USS Douglas. They pretty much made a lot of vehicles in this game much more better and useful, while also adding one spin vehicle. So here's the thing, this update was definitely stolen by the likes of the BMPT Terminator. The people were kind of mad that it wasn't a spin, but the BMPT at that time really did dominate the meta. It was just better than the Abrams X itself. But the Torpedoes was a really cool mechanic which can actually be implemented upon in even the modern updates. Like for example, I know they're of course probably going to be adding submarines, and this feature could really come out to be really useful in the future. Not to add, a new ship was also nice to have, and amphibious vehicles was a very nice quality of life change which we all actually want in the game. Anyway, everyone actually wants the Boxer to be amphibious as well, so developers, you better listen and give the people an amphibious Boxer. Anyway, we have ourselves the Raider X update on the other side as well. Honestly, this update has broken the meta by a lot. It was on release, this thing was better than the Mi28 Havoc, by so much. Like this, in a single second, was able to literally take out a tank. It's still really good until this day though. Honestly, I wouldn't put it in terms of making it a really insane update because people didn't want this much prototypes into the game, but in terms of how this update came out, I'm probably going to be putting it in B tier. It was a good update, but it could have been better. But then on the other side, we have ourselves the KF51 update. Oh my god, this was so controversial. Alright, let's go ahead and show you. Alrighty, so they have added a brand new unique feature such as adding drones to tanks. They buffed the Abrams X, which is something that everybody has wanted. They have also added new skins to animated skins into vehicles. They buffed the A10 Warthog, which was something that people have really wanted, and it's still holding up good until this day. The minimap stays visible while using ground vehicles. It was also a nice quality of life change, but the most important thing was that the hipfire sped for all snipers has been nerfed. Oh my god, I love that. Honestly, the hipfire nerf for snipers was probably one of the best things that were ever done in the game. The meta was just so broken with sniper users, and it didn't give the casuals any type of chance to actually play the game. By the way, there was a few people that were actually calling me out for supporting this feature and this thing being changed. Honestly, I don't know why people were mad about it, but in all reality, it's actually making the game much more balanced, that now the snipers are actually somewhat more balanced than they were previously. But not to add, it also gave a really unique feature, and they gave us drones into the game. You know what? Would I call this update an S tier? Everything was nice about it. I would not quite call it S tier because it didn't give us as much quality of life, but it was a still really good update. But on the other side, speaking of S tier, the Su-57 and the Su-25 update. Alright, let's cover this. Alrighty, so they have added a brand new Su-25 Frogfoot in the daily spins, which people are not this happy about. They have also added a brand new Su-57 in order to combat the F-35, but they have also added a Russian jet for the reason that people wanted to have Russian jets. So this update was pretty much a community's fulfilling for Christmas because people have asked to have much more Russian jets, and then the Russian jets were changed. The F-35 has also gotten a buffed speed, the A10 Warthog and the Ju-87 Stuka has also received a slight buff to make it better in the meta. I really actually like this update. The only downside people might have for this update was the fact that this update actually included a new spin vehicle, but still, I still think it was a really good update. I'm gonna be putting it ahead of the KF51 update, but it was genuinely just really good. And then on the other side, probably the easiest S tier in a long time, time out of any update, I'm going to be giving the new map update an S tier. It pretty much fulfilled almost every single thing we would want out of a new map. Just like any update, though, it did have its fair share of issues, just like any update, but you cannot just say that an update is not going to go into S tier because some things were not as good as they could have been. Like, this update pretty much fulfilled everything we ever wanted, and you guys might be wondering, why is the A tier actually fully filled up? The reason why is because a lot of the updates that War Tycoon actually introduces into the game are genuinely really good. Like, there are some updates that are kind of mid, but on the other side, there's updates that really do leave a great mark in the history, and they are really enjoyable to play. So anyway, let me know in the comment section down below, how would you rank this list? Personally, I think I ranked this list pretty well in terms of how these updates actually happen to be. I really find that a lot of these did change the meta quite a lot. These from B to D tier, not so much, but we haven't had a single F tier. If I had to really make an F tier, I would probably be putting the Patriot update in F tier because it kind of ruined the skill meta, but I would still say it was okay of an update. Anyway guys, let me know in the comment section down below how you would actually place this, and thank you so much all for the 15,000 subscribers. This is a little bit of a special for you, and yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much to all my channel members.